Hey everybody, Justin here with From Zero to Studio, and it is week 4 of our creative vocal effects series. In today's video, we're going to dive into using reverse delay on your vocals. Let's check it out. So today we are working on the glorious reverse delay effect. Now the process for this is similar to the reverse reverb trick that we did a couple of weeks ago, but this is one of those effects I don't hear used as often, and it can be really cool when done tastefully throughout your song. So let's check this out. The first thing we're going to do is take this lead vocal track and we're going to duplicate it. Now that we have a duplicate, I'm going to go ahead and bounce the selection, and that's through the audio menu and down to bounce selection in Cubase. And that's just so I'm not going to affect the original vocal track with any processing we're doing. Now that I've bounced that, I'm going to go back up to the audio menu, down to processes, and reverse. So your menu settings might be different, but there's going to be a way to reverse a track. Now that I have that reversed, I'm going back to the audio menu again, and I'm going to go to plugins, and I'm going to go to delay, and we're going to put on a mono delay. Now I want to have that set to a quarter note delay and at 100% wet. So you can see that the duplicate vocal track changed in its appearance because I have this set to auto apply. So if I go ahead and undo those changes, you can see that the vocal track goes back to normal, however it's reversed. So let's put that delay back on there. And with committing that delay to this vocal track, it does save a couple of steps because I can just reverse this again and be done. But you can also add the delay as a plugin, export it out of your DAW, and then re-import it back in. So let's reverse this really quick back to its original order just so we're finished with this track, and then I'm going to show you the other way to do that. And now you'll see that this lines up with the original vocal, but we do have that pre-delay tail leading up into that first word of each. So let's drop this track down here so it's out of the way. Then I'm going to show you the alternate method where you can actually add that as a plugin and export it and import it. So let's duplicate that vocal track. We're also going to bounce it in place again, so we're not affecting the original track. And that's up in audio, bounce selection. And now we're going to reverse it. So back to audio, processes, and then reverse. So now, rather than committing that delay plugin directly to the track, we're going to add this as an insert. We'll go down to delay, mono delay, and we want to set this to a quarter note delay and 100% wet. Let's take a listen to that. All right, so let's make sure that your left and right locators are set to the beginning of the song, and then at the end of that vocal track, which they are. And now we're going to export that. So in Cubase, you can go up to File, Export, Audio Mixdown. Now, if you don't have any processing on your stereo out, you can export this directly like that. I do have some plugins on there, so I'm going to go down to just this vocal track, which is the last one that I duplicated here. We can even just add plugin to that just to make sure that it's the same. There we go, correct track. And that's only going to export that track with that track's processing. No other post-processing that I have after that track. So I'm going to make sure my sample rate and bit depth are the same. They are. And we're going to do a mono down mix. So let's go ahead and export. Now that that's done, I'm going to delete this track because we're going to import the audio file directly back onto this track. So we'll go up to File, Import Audio File, and here we go. So we have it back in, but we have to reverse it just like we did with the first method. So I've got the track highlighted. We'll go up to Audio, Processes, and Reverse. And there we go. We can see we're aligned just like this one here. Now, the reason these two tracks look different is because this track I exported with my processing on my entire vocal chain. So that means I can go ahead and turn all of those inserts off. So now we have two of the same tracks, just different methods of getting there. So let's take a listen to that. I just can't seem to catch my breath. Let's hear that with the lead vocal. We don't need all of that entire track delayed. So now we're going to chop it up and find some good placements for this.
I just can't seem to catch my breath.
So what I'm going to do here on this first one is I'm going to cut it kind of where it starts at, and then I'm going to let it overlap that first word here. And then I'm actually going to fade it out over that word to where the word starts, and I'm going to fade it in up to that point as well. Let's hear that.
I just can't seem to catch.
That's cool. Let's hit some other spots here on the fly.
I just can't seem to catch my breath. Ever since you've gone and left, I spend my nights thinking of you. I can't help thinking that you do it too. I just want you out of my mind. Got me always wondering why you went and said goodbye. Now you're left with a piece of me. This isn't how it's gotta be. Gone with no apology. Let's hit rewind. Turn back.
I loved how that came into the chorus right there. Let's hear that again.
No apology. Let's hit rewind. Turn back.
That's nice. Let's go ahead and let's mute that lead vocal reverse delay, and let's hear it coming into that chorus without that again.
No apology. Let's hit rewind.
And here it is back in.
Gotta be gone with no apology. Let's hit rewind. Turn back the time.
Cool, let's hear that whole part.
I just can't seem to catch my breath. Ever since you've gone and left, I spend my nights thinking of you. I can't help thinking that you do it too. I just want you out of my mind. Got me always wondering why you went and said goodbye. Now you're left with a piece of me. This isn't how it's gotta be. Gone with no apology. Let's hit rewind. Turn back the time.
So that's how you can create reverse delay effects in your vocal production. Now this effect might sound cool on a bunch of different spots in your song, but I suggest finding those spots that give you the same vibe that I got when we transitioned to the chorus on this song. By only choosing the places that really give you that feeling, it's going to help to avoid overusing it, and it's going to help to create more of an impact on the listener. Now, as you're working on improving your recording and mixing skills, if you want a guide that'll walk you through every step of the process from songwriting and recording up through mixing and mastering, you can download the roadmap to a radio-ready song. This guide covers the 5 steps required to take your song from sounding like a demo to sounding pro, and you can download it absolutely free as my gift to you by going to FromZeroToStudio.com/roadmap or by clicking the link below in the description, and you can start improving how you're creating and capturing your music. We've got 1 week left in this creative vocal effects series, so stay tuned for the upcoming video. But that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I'll see you on another video soon.